Koenigsegg built a car that cannot be proven. The Jesko Absolut has a theoretical top speed of 330 miles per hour. It is, on paper, the fastest machine ever bolted together by human hands. No one has ever driven it at that speed, and no one can, because the road does not exist. The track does not exist. The tire does not exist. Koenigsegg spent a decade engineering the answer to a question the world has no instrument to verify. This is that car. In 1994, a 22-year-old with no engineering degree decided to build Sweden's first hypercar. He had no factory, no investors, no prototype, no credentials that any automotive institution would recognize. What he had was a declaration. Not a hope, not a plan, a declaration. Christian von Koenigsegg did not enter the automotive industry. He decided the automotive industry needed him. At an age when most engineers are still studying load-bearing theory, Christian was sketching a car that would eventually embarrass every major manufacturer in the world. He acquired a decommissioned fighter jet hangar in Ängelholm, Sweden, a ghost facility surrounded by nothing. He hired a small team, not from Ferrari, not from Porsche, not from anywhere the industry would have looked. The first Koenigsegg CC8S was completed in 2002, 8 years after the declaration. 655 horsepower, faster than anything Sweden had ever produced. And it was only the opening statement of a very specific obsession. Christian von Koenigsegg does not improve on existing cars. He dismantles the assumptions behind what a car is permitted to be. And he found, very quickly, that most of those assumptions were not engineering facts. They were habits, expensive, unchallenged, industry-wide habits. Standard automotive physics could not contain what he was building next. Every performance car in history has had a gearbox. This is not a preference. It is a mechanical necessity. The instrument that translates engine torque into usable road speed across a full range of velocities. Without it, an engine cannot deliver power effectively. This is not opinion. It is the foundational principle behind every sports car produced in the last 100 years. In 2016, Koenigsegg introduced the Regera. It had no gearbox, not a simplified gearbox, not a single speed reduction unit, no transmission of any kind. A hydraulic coupling and 3 electric motors connected the combustion engine directly to the rear wheels. 1 ratio. 0 shifts. 0 to 248 miles per hour, without changing gear once. Engineers across the industry called it reckless. The physics of torque delivery across that speed range, without a traditional transmission, defied every powertrain model in use by major manufacturers. Koenigsegg called it direct drive, filed the patents, and sold 80 units at 1.9 million each. They sold in under 10 minutes. The Regera taught Christian something critical. Removing what everyone assumed was essential was often the most elegant solution available. What no one anticipated was what that philosophy would produce next. Because the Regera's engine, by Koenigsegg's standards, was restrained. The adjacent project was not restrained. The next engine would be so violent, so far beyond the mechanical tolerances the industry considered achievable, that it would not simply outrun other cars. It would outrun its own physical safety limits. The Jesko Absolut is built around a 5.0-liter twin turbocharged V8. On standard 98-octane fuel, it produces 1,880 horsepower. On E85 biofuel, it produces 600 horsepower from an engine that fits inside a road car. The transmission is called the light-speed transmission. 9 speeds, 7 wet clutch packs. It does not shift sequentially. It can move from any gear to any other gear instantaneously in under 20 milliseconds. 20 milliseconds is faster than the human nervous system can register a sound. The carbon fiber monocoque chassis weighs 1,420 kilograms total. The aerodynamic package generates 800 kilograms of downforce at speed. Front splitter, rear wing, active underbody, calibrated as a single system to keep a 1,600 horsepower machine planted at velocities no production tire has been asked to manage. And here is where Koenigsegg encountered the one problem it could not engineer its way past. To reach 330 miles per hour, a vehicle requires a sustained flat-out run of approximately 4 kilometers. No test track in the world is long enough. Koenigsegg consulted Michelin on a purpose-built tire compound for the Absolut. The answer was not what they wanted. At 330 miles per hour, the centrifugal forces acting on a tire's structure exceed what any current polymer compound can withstand. Not marginally, structurally. The tire, not the engine, not the gearbox, not the aerodynamics, is the ceiling. The Jesko Absolut is the fastest production car ever engineered, and it reached the outer boundary of what this planet is currently equipped to offer it. It cannot be fully used here. 125 people decided to purchase it anyway, and what they understood when they signed says something unsettling about the distance between extreme wealth and the need for external validation. There are 125 Koenigsegg Jesko Absoluts allocated in the world. Each costs approximately $3 million. Every unit was sold before a single car had been delivered, before a single owner had driven one, before the 330 miles per hour figure had been tested, verified, or validated by any independent body on Earth. 125 people handed over $3 million for an unverified number. This is not irrational behavior. It is a different category of decision-making entirely. At the level of wealth required to acquire a Jesko Absolut, the verified top speed is not the purchase. The engineering philosophy is the purchase. The light-speed transmission is the purchase. The fact that one man, with no degree, no institutional backing, and no permission, built something that Bugatti's engineers have not been able to replicate. That is the purchase. The record does not need to be verified, because the people who bought this car are not buying a number. They are buying alignment with a very specific idea. The idea that human obsession, applied with sufficient precision and sufficient duration, eventually outpaces the infrastructure built to measure it. That is what 3 million buys in Ängelholm, Sweden. Koenigsegg is not a car company. It is a proof of concept. The Jesko Absolut is the most recent submission. So the question that remains is this. If you were one of 125, if the agreement was in front of you, if the 3 million was available, if the car was ready, would you need the record verified? Or is the engineering enough? The answer to that question separates two very different ways of moving through the world. The next analysis examines the Koenigsegg Regera, a car with no gearbox, and the patent that permanently changed what the word transmission means. That analysis follows. Not subscribed yet? Hit that button. What's coming next makes this look small. Elite Drive, where legends are celebrated the way they deserve.